2-3, combining like terms. Okay, would like to do a quick review of distributive property here. So would you please try these 6 problems? If you're having trouble, go ahead and listen to the first 1 or 2 and then pause and try the last 4 on your own. But this is something that's really important and you should know how to do distributive property. So go ahead and pause the video and come back when you have what you think is the answer, hopefully, to these 6 problems. Okay, number 1, 5 times the quantity 4x plus 3. Remember, you're multiplying each term by 5. So whatever's on the inside gets multiplied by what's on the outside. So we're going 5 times 4x and 5 times a positive 3. Please remember, you want to look at the signs in front of each term. So 5 times 4x, so if you have 5 sets of 4x, you have 20x. And 5 times 3 is 15. Number 2, 6 times the quantity 2v minus 8. So what are you going to be multiplying here? You're going to be multiplying by 6, and what you're multiplying is 2v and a minus or negative 8. Remember, look at the sign in front of the term. So 6 times 2v is 12v, and 6 times a minus 8 is a minus 48. Number 3, negative 3 times the quantity 7 minus k. So you're multiplying by negative 3, and you're multiplying a 7 and a negative k, or a minus k. Negative 3 times 7 is negative 21, and a negative 3 times a negative k is a positive 3k. A negative times a negative is a positive. You can't really do anything with the 3 and the k, so you leave it as 3 times k. Number 4, we have the multiplying by negative 4, so it's the quantity, the quantity 9 plus 5c multiplied by negative 4. So we're going negative 4 times 9 and negative 4 times a positive 5c. Negative 4 times 9 is negative 36, and negative 4 times a positive 5c is a negative 20c. Signs are different, so the answer is negative. Number 5, we're basically doubling what's on the inside. When you're multiplying by 2, you double. So 2 times 5x and 2 times a minus 4. 2 times 5x is 10x. 2 times minus 4 is minus 8. And then negative 3 times the quantity negative x plus 2. So a negative times a negative will give us a positive 3x, and negative 3 times a positive 2 will be a minus 6x, or you could also write it as a plus negative 6. Either way, it's the same answer, but I like to keep it short, so minus 6 works for me. Okay, we're going to talk about combining like terms a little bit more here. So the first thing we need to talk about is the coefficient, and that's a number that multiplies the variable. So you're looking for numbers that are in front of the variable, and what those numbers do are multiply the variable. So you're saying you have whatever times the variable. So looking at these 3 examples of terms, or expressions, I'm sorry, what would be the coefficient for each term or expression? Keep saying that. So the correct answers would be negative 3, because it's multiplying the y, 8 because it's multiplying the r, and what would be the coefficient for the last one? Hopefully you're circling 4 because it's multiplying the f. So all 3 of those are called coefficients. Numbers multiplying variables. Then we have our variables. That's the unknown in the term, the letter, the symbol. So this should be pretty easy. What are the variables for these 3 expressions? We have y, r, and the last one is f. So all of those are variables. Then we have our constants. A constant is a term that has no variable. In other words, it's pretty much just a plain old number. So in this case, what would the constants be? And this could be a little tricky on one of them. First one should be pretty easy. It's a positive 6. The next one is a negative 56, not positive. Look at the sign in front. And then the 13, is that going to be a positive or negative 13? Don't look at the back. Don't look at that plus, because that plus is talking about the 4F. That's a positive 4F. Look at what's in front of the 13. There isn't anything, so think of that as a positive 13. All of those are constants. Now, like terms. Those are terms that can contain the same variable or variables and can be combined. Constants can be combined. So let's look for like terms here. What do we see that looks alike? They have to have the same letter or variable. So what do you see that looks alike? Well, all of those have x's. So if I put 4 x's, then I take away 2 x's, then I add 6 x's, how many x's do I have? So if I have 4 xylophones, I give 2 xylophones away, and then I get 6 more xylophones. How many xylophones would I have? I would have 8 xylophones. Now the 4y, I can't combine that because that's not a xylophone. That's a yo-yo or a yogurt or a yak or whatever. That's not the same as a xylophone, so I can't put those with it. I got to keep those separate. And then I have my plain old constant, which I'm just going to bring down. And that is a simplified version of the original expression. So again, things can only be combined if they look alike. And by looking alike, that means having the same variable or variables. So let's do some simplifying here. Number 1, we have 16 plus 7y minus 8. What is alike here? Well, we have some constants, which are 16 and minus 8, and we have 7y, which has a variable. So the things that are alike are the 16 and the minus 8. Again, look at what's in front of them. I've got a positive 16. If you don't see a sign, it's positive. And I have a minus 8. So 16 plus a negative 8, or 16 minus 8, is 8. Then I can bring down the 7y, and I'm done there. For number 2, our variables are r and, just 2r and a plus 6r. So if I have 2 rabbits, I get 6 more rabbits. I've got 8 rabbits. The constant, the negative 5 or the minus 5, we leave that alone. We can't combine those because the 5 doesn't have an r. Okay, now we got to do a little bit more work here. We've got negative 4 times 2a plus 4 times 6a. So going along with our order of operations, we need to take care of multiplication first. So I'm going to go negative 4 times 2a and positive 4 times 6a. Negative 4 times 2, signs are different, that gives me negative 8a. Positive 4 times 6a would be 24a. 4 times 6 is 24. Are those like terms? Yes, because they both have an a. So if I combine those, if I owe somebody 8 apples and I get 24 apples, I got to pay off what I owe, and that leaves me with 16 apples. I'm personally partial to Fuji apples, but whatever apples you like. Okay, so for number 4, what are our like terms there? What do you see that's alike? Go ahead and try to at least think what terms are alike. Well, I could start with the x's. How many x's do I have altogether if I combine my like terms, my x's? I've got a positive 2x and a positive 7x. That gives me 9x. But I also have y's that are alike. I have a negative 9y. Don't forget the sign in front of it. Got to look at the sign in front of each term. And a positive 20y. So if I owe 9 yo-yos and I have 20 yo-yos, I get 20 yo-yos for my birthday, I have 11 yo-yos. Back to distributive property. And we're still simplifying expressions. So first thing we're going to do is take care of those parentheses. So if I do distributive property, what do you think I'd end up with? Well, I'm going to do 3 times 9k. That would give me 27k. 3 times a negative 4 or a minus 4, that's a minus 12. For the next parentheses, what am I multiplying by there? Hopefully you're thinking negative 4 because I want to look at the sign in front of the 4. So that's a negative 4 times 5n, that's negative 20n. Negative 4 times a minus 3, a negative times a negative is a positive, so I get positive 12. So now we have 27k minus 12 minus 20n plus 12. Are there any things that are alike? Well, I got a 27k and a 20n. They have variables, but they're not the same variable, so those can't be combined. But I have two constants. I have a minus 12 and a plus 12. So those can be combined. And if I do a minus 12 and a plus 12, that's 0. I'll bring down my 27k, bring down my minus 20n, but I really don't really have to put 0 if I don't want to. I'm just going to simplify that out and put 27k minus 20n. And that's as far as I can go. I can't go any farther because, again, they're not the same variable. So I'd like you to try to do as much as you can for number 6. I'll give you a hint. You want to do distributive property first. So pause the video and see what you get. And if you get stuck, go ahead and play the video until you get unstuck and then pause it again and go as far as you can. Okay, so doing distributive property. What are we going to multiply by? By negative 21. That's what's outside the parentheses. What are we multiplying? Everything inside the parentheses. So we're multiplying the a and the 2b. So negative 21 times a is negative 21a. Negative 21 times a positive 2b. Negative times a positive is a negative, so I'm going to write it as minus 42b. And then I'm going to bring everything else down for right now. Now I'm going to look for like terms. What do you see that is alike? Well, we can start with the a's. I got a negative 21a and a positive 14a. Signs are different, so I'm going to have to subtract. What do I have more of? I've got 21 negatives, 14 positives. So those are going to cancel each other out and leave me negative 7a. Then I also have a negative 42b and a negative 9b. There the signs are the same, so I can add them together. 42 plus 9 will be 51. However, it's negative, so to make sure we write it as negative 51b. And that's it for today. If you have questions, make sure you write them down or post them on Edmodo, and I will put up the lesson for this assignment. But if you're in the flipped class, make sure that you wait until tomorrow to